ever had one of those mornings where you catch yourself doing something small, something you didn't even think twice about, and suddenly realize, wow, I'm still doing this at my age? Maybe it was getting up off the floor without needing to brace on something, or remembering exactly where you left your keys, or walking briskly across a parking lot without checking if anyone was waiting on you. Moments like that might seem ordinary, but they hold incredible clues about your future. Here's the truth. The ability to do certain things past 60, especially the ones most people stop noticing, is often a far better predictor of how long and well you'll live than any test score or doctor visit. Not because you're superhuman, but because those abilities are quiet signs that your body, your brain, and your spirit are still moving in sync. And if you're watching this and thinking, well, I'm definitely not 40 anymore, good. Because midlife and beyond isn't about going back. It's about going deeper, living sharper, holding on to the abilities that matter, and nurturing them like you would a garden you actually care about. Let's talk about one of the most telling abilities first, and that's balance. Not the kind you practice in yoga class, though that's great too, but the kind that sneaks into your day when you're stepping over a curb, putting on pants while standing, or turning quickly when someone calls your name. If you can still stand on one leg for more than 10 seconds without wobbling too much, that's not just a nice trick. That's neurological integrity. That's a brain that still communicates fast with your muscles. That's a lower fall risk, better coordination, and believe it or not, a longer life expectancy. Because as studies show, fall-related injuries are one of the top reasons people lose their independence after 70. Now, if balance isn't your strong suit right now, don't worry. You're not behind. You're just at the starting line of something worth improving. There are gentle ways to rebuild that strength, and we'll walk through them together in this series. But if you do still have it, celebrate that. It means your brain-body connection is still firing beautifully, and you're giving yourself a foundation that lasts. Another rare but vital ability: grip strength. Yes, something as simple as opening a jar without asking for help. It turns out grip strength isn't just about your hands. It's linked to your heart health, your circulation, and even your cognitive function. People who maintain a strong grip after 60 tend to score higher on mental clarity tests, have lower rates of stroke, and often live independently much longer. It makes sense if you think about it. Strength isn't isolated, it's integrated. If your muscles are being used regularly, they're sending signals to your brain. Your brain responds. That feedback loop, it keeps you sharp. So if you're someone who still carries grocery bags without a second thought, or finds satisfaction in a firm handshake, know that you're holding on to more than just function. You're holding on to resilience, a life force. A signal that you're not just getting older, you're aging well. And isn't that the real goal? Have you ever caught yourself humming a song from decades ago only to realize you remember every lyric, clear as a bell, while forgetting why you walked into the room? That contrast can feel strange, and sometimes even a little worrying. But here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Your ability to remember music, stories, and the names of long-lost friends isn't just nostalgia, it's brain health. And if you're still mentally sharp enough to recall complex details like dates, patterns, or even punchlines, you're already doing better than you might think. One of the strongest signs of healthy cognitive aging is what researchers call episodic memory. That's the stuff tied to life events. Birthdays, anniversaries, the smell of your grandma's kitchen. If that memory bank still runs strong, it's a beautiful sign that your brain is processing and storing information properly. And what's even more encouraging? It means your emotional memory is intact too. The ability to connect, to reflect, to feel. That's not just mental fitness, that's human richness. But memory alone isn't the only mental marker. Decision-making speed matters too. Can you still react quickly if someone steps into the street in front of you while you're driving? Can you make a choice in the grocery store without freezing in front of the yogurt shelf for 5 minutes? These moments test something called cognitive agility. If you're still able to pivot, adapt, and stay mentally flexible, your brain is aging like a fine wine. That quickness is tied to processing speed, and it usually slows with age. But if yours hasn't, that's rare, that's powerful. And here's something else to celebrate: your social awareness. If you can still follow a group conversation, tell when someone's feeling off, or sense the emotion behind a pause on the phone, that's social cognition, a skill that fades early in dementia but stays vibrant in those who age well. So, if you're still giving great advice, comforting loved ones, or cracking jokes that actually land, you're not just mentally sharp, you're emotionally tuned in. That matters, deeply. Now let's zoom in on something more physical again, but equally rare. If you can still get up off the floor without using your hands, or even with minimal help, consider that your golden ticket. This movement tests everything at once: core strength, joint mobility, balance, coordination, even blood pressure response. A famous study in Brazil showed that older adults who could get up and down from the floor with minimal support had significantly lower mortality rates. Why? Because it's a true functional test. It means your body hasn't lost its ability to work as a whole. So if you've been playing on the floor with grandkids or stretching on a yoga mat and standing up with ease, you're not just staying limber, you're literally adding years to your life with that one motion. All these things, memory, decision speed, floor mobility, balance, grip, they may not show up on a medical chart as vital signs, but they are. They're your daily proof that your mind and body are still in sync, that you're not just surviving the stage of life, you're thriving through it. And thriving doesn't have to mean being perfect. It means being present, capable, aware of how much strength still lives in you. You ever surprise yourself with how fast you catch something falling? Maybe a spoon slips off the table or a coffee mug tips and boom, your hand's there without thinking. That's not just quick reflexes. It's coordination, reaction, time, and spatial awareness all rolled into one. And if you're still doing that at 70 or 80, that's impressive. It tells us your brain and body are still speaking the same language, clearly and fast. That kind of reflex doesn't just help in the kitchen. It could be the split second that saves you from a nasty fall. Because let's be honest, falling is one of the biggest risks for seniors. But people who can react fast, catch their balance, steady themselves against the wall, adjust mid-step, they're the ones who stay independent longer. So yes, that little moment with the coffee mug, that matters. And speaking of moving safely, here's something that most people overlook completely. Can you still turn your head quickly without feeling dizzy? Maybe to check your blind spot in the car, or to respond to someone calling your name across the room. That one move, so small, so ordinary, actually reflects a lot about your vestibular system. That's your internal balance center. It's what helps your eyes, ears, and body stay in sync. And if it's still strong, if turning your head doesn't make the room spin or knock your confidence, that's a huge win. It means your brain is still processing movement and orientation clearly. It means you're less likely to fall. And it means you're probably still moving through your world with ease and grace, even if you don't realize it. That might seem like a small thing, but when it comes to long life, it's a major indicator. Now let's shift to something a bit more heart-based, literally and emotionally. Can you still climb a flight of stairs without stopping halfway to catch your breath? If so, your heart is strong, your lungs are efficient, and your circulation is thriving. Cardiovascular fitness in your 60s, 70s, even 80s isn't about running marathons. It's about how your body responds to everyday challenges. If you're still walking briskly, carrying groceries, or getting from room to room without huffing and puffing, your endurance is high, and that's one of the clearest signs your system is aging slower than average. People who live to 100 often have one thing in common: they stay active. Not necessarily through fancy workouts, but through living. Movement is built into their routines. They don't sit still too long, and they stay engaged with the world around them. But endurance doesn't stop at the physical level. There's also emotional endurance, the ability to stay hopeful, to bounce back from hard days, to still laugh, really laugh, at something unexpected. If you still find yourself moved by a good movie, energized by a walk outside, or quietly content after folding laundry to the sound of music, then you've held on to one of the rarest traits of all: joy. And joy, my friend, isn't just a feeling, it's fuel. It lowers inflammation, boosts immunity, and lights up your entire nervous system with messages that say, we're still alive, we're still loving, we're still going. So the next time you catch yourself humming that old tune, walking up those stairs or balancing on one leg while reaching for a top-shelf mug, know this: you're not just living. You're showing signs of something far rarer: longevity in motion. There's one more thing I want to ask you. Not about your strength, your breath, or your balance, but your memory. Can you still remember a phone number without writing it down? Or recall a childhood friend's name out of nowhere? Maybe you can follow the thread of a long story or solve a crossword puzzle without getting frustrated. That kind of mental sharpness, it's rare. And it's not luck, it's resilience. It means your brain is still forming new connections, still firing efficiently, still holding on to the rhythm of memory, language, and logic. People who make it to 100 with dignity and clarity often show signs of cognitive flexibility. They're not stuck. They adapt. They stay curious. And curiosity is powerful fuel for a long life. Because the brain, much like a muscle, needs resistance and novelty to grow. So if you're still learning, even if it's just how to use your new phone or navigating an app your grandchild suggested, you're doing exactly what science says helps you stay sharp. You're pushing your brain just enough to keep it alive and awake. But here's where it gets really personal. The people who thrive into their 90s and beyond, they don't just have habits and they have purpose. They have a reason to get out of bed. Maybe it's a garden. Maybe it's checking in on an old friend. Maybe it's finishing that puzzle, reading that novel, watching the news, and having an opinion about it. Purpose doesn't have to be big, but it has to be present. If you're 60, 70, even 80 and you still feel needed, still feel useful, that's not just a nice feeling. It's a predictor of longevity. When the body knows it's still part of something, when the mind knows it matters, everything functions better. Blood pressure, immune system, sleep, even digestion, all of it. And if you're the kind of person who still laughs easily, who can find joy in a silly joke, a warm drink, a slow walk at sunset, then you're not just alive. You're thriving. Because that spark, that internal sense that life still has flavor, that's what fuels a long, meaningful ride. So if you've recognized yourself in any of this, if you've caught a falling glass, climbed the stairs without stopping, remembered a friend's name, or simply looked at the sky and felt awe, you're already showing signs that you've got what it takes. You may not think of these moments as rare, but in a world where so many give up before they need to, your quiet resilience is powerful. You've earned every smile line, every stretch mark, every birthday cake. Don't let anyone convince you that age means limitation. Age means history, and wisdom, and proof that you're stronger than you realize. So today, take a moment to celebrate those little things. The balance, the laughter, the memory, the movement, the purpose. Because if you're still doing them, you're not just growing older. You're growing bolder, and maybe, just maybe, you're on your way to being one of the rare few who lives to 100 with your spirit intact and your heart wide open. If this video gave you something to smile about or a reason to feel proud, leave a comment. Tell us the one thing you can still do that reminds you, I've still got it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We've got more real talk and real hope made just for you. Here's to living well, loving fully, and embracing every single year to come. You deserve it.